Okay, so when you think of classical music, you probably picture some old guy in a stuffy wig, right? Well, forget that. Today we're talking about a total rebel, a rule breaker who basically created the epic blockbusters of his time. Let's dive into the absolutely wild world of George Friedrich Handel.
But first, I have a pretty intense question for you. How far would you actually go to be famous? I mean, would you physically and permanently change your body just for a shot at being a superstar singer? It sounds completely nuts, right? Well, for the biggest stars in Handel's world, this wasn't some weird hypothetical, it was their reality.
And yeah, that's exactly where we need to start. Because to really get why Handel was such a genius, you first have to meet the unbelievable singers he was writing for. And trust me, these weren't just performers. They were basically opera's first superheroes.
They were called the castrati. Now, this is pretty wild. These were male singers who had an extreme operation before they hit puberty. This procedure stopped their voices from dropping, so what you got was this incredible combination, the high, soaring range of a young voice, but with the powerful lungs of a fully grown man. The sound was just otherworldly. Seriously, imagine the power of a superhero mixed with the vocal range of a pop star. These guys were the biggest celebrities of their day, no question.
So, you're probably wondering, who was the guy writing the mind-blowing music for these vocal athletes? Well, that brings us right to Handel's own rebel origin story. You know how every hero has one? His starts with a total classic, a battle between your family and your passion.
So just check out this timeline. He's born in Germany and is completely obsessed with music from day one. But his dad? No, his dad was dead set on him becoming a lawyer. Can you even imagine being told to just quit the one thing you love to go study something you have zero interest in? Well, by the time he was 18, Handel was just like, I'm done. He defied his dad and went all in on music, a total rebel move.
And just like any hero in a good quest story, Handel knew he had to leave home to get new skills. He needed to level up. And for him, the place to do that, the world capital of opera, was Italy. And when he got there, it was like entering a completely different world. See, German music was super structured and complex, almost like musical math. But Italian opera was the total opposite. It was all about raw emotion, catchy melodies, and, breaking the rules if it created more drama. The number one focus was always the incredible power of the human voice.
So Handel basically soaked all of this in like a sponge. He took that German structure he knew so well and fused it with all that Italian passion. And with that amazing combo, he started crafting his own musical blockbusters. He was ready to make a hit.
Now, the main event in any of his operas, the part everyone was waiting for, was the aria. The best way to think of it is like a character's huge emotional solo in a movie. It's that moment where the action freezes, the spotlight hits the singer, and they just unleash everything they're feeling. Love, rage, sadness, all of it. This was the absolute showstopper.
But, how you get from one massive song to the next, that's where recitative comes in. If the aria is the big action scene, think of the recitative as the cutscene in a video game. It's the sung dialogue that quickly gives you the key plot points and moves the story forward, setting you up for the next epic moment.
And his hits were massive. Operas like Rinaldo and Julio Caesar weren't just concerts, they were huge spectacles. We're talking epic stories about myths and legends with magic, crazy special effects, elaborate costumes, and these larger-than-life heroes. Basically, they were the Marvel movies of the 18th century. Seriously.
But of course, stories that epic needed performers who were just as epic to pull them off. And this brings us right back to those incredible singers we talked about. Handel wasn't just writing music, he was writing it specifically for their unique, almost superhuman talents.
You can think of them like different character classes in a game. First, you had the castrato. Their stats were off the charts, insane power, amazing flexibility, unbelievably high notes. So they were always cast as the main heroes, or even gods. And then you had the sopranos, the female stars, who were absolute masters of expressing emotion. They played the powerful queens and heroines.
So, Handel writes these massive hits, he turns his singers into superstars, and he becomes a legend himself. But his impact didn't stop there. Not by a long shot. His work left a permanent mark on the entire history of music.
So what was his secret? Well, it really boils down to three key things. 1, he proved that music could tell stories that were just as epic as any movie. 2, he wrote these iconic superstar roles that turned singers into absolute legends. And 3, he basically created the blueprint for dramatic opera that inspired composers for generations to come.
And his music is so powerful that it's still performed all over the world today. Now, obviously, we don't have castrati anymore. So now those incredibly difficult hero roles are taken on by either highly skilled female singers or by these amazing male singers called countertenors, who actually train their voices to sing in that same high range.
So, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The crucial point is that Handel proved music could be way more than just pretty sounds. He showed it could communicate the deepest human emotions and tell the most complex, exciting stories in a way that nothing else really could. He built entire universes just out of sound.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If Handel, the master of epic drama and superstar performers, was making music today, what kind of stories do you think he would tell? What would his operas be about?